Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of the Coach's Corner. Evan O'Neill, along with head track and field coach for Assumption, Stacie Wentz. Coach, thank you for joining us once again.
You're welcome.
So you guys traveled down to Bridgewater State University to go to the Bears Invitational, take on multiple Division II, Division III teams. Merrimack was there. That was a great conference opponent. We have a lot to talk about today. So let's get right into it. We're going to talk about the Bears Invitational. We're also going to talk about Megan Perrin, sophomore Megan Perrin, who in the javelin had an unbelievable performance. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. She was named as the NE10 Field Athlete of the Week for her performance at the Invitational. And then the main stories, women's team, I feel like every single week we talk, you guys are breaking records. You guys are breaking program records, and it's crazy. The women's team breaks 3 new records, sets 3 new records, broke old records, 4 event wins in total, and the men's team had 16 top 10 finishes. I saw that, and it blew my mind. I was like, wow, that's crazy. 1 record was set, and you guys won 2 events, which was terrific. And the weather conditions were tough. I mean, you talked about that yesterday. Jeremy Alley Tarter, who we're going to talk about later, he had an excellent run in one of the sprints. I mean, just unbelievable, because you said that with those tough weather conditions, it's going to be so tough to run, but he handled it. So, I mean, it was incredible. Just talk about your team overall and how they performed.
Yeah, I mean, we approached this meet. It's the first, meet back in New England, and it always seems to be the worst weather. I mean, we had, probably with the wind chill was probably, low 30s, definitely windy, fighting the wind and going around the circle. So the performances were really great. We'll get into some of the times that we were able to hit, knowing that the conditions were pretty rough out there.
Right.
But the athletes handled it well, and we came out and really showed the region what we can do. And, now we came out another week with the women's team top in the East region for Division II. And that's teams all the way down in, Delaware, Eastern Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, and all the way up to Maine. And so for us to be ranked number 1 in the region, 3 weeks into the outdoor season is amazing. We'll take it. We know we have a lot of work to do, and to kind of, there's a lot of teams going after us now. But it just goes to show you when we can start a little earlier, like we did in Myrtle Beach a couple of weeks ago, what that does for our program. And I'm excited to what the future holds for us in this outdoor season. But again, fortunately or unfortunately, we're coming in, and, my athletic director and the rest of my fellow coaches here at Assumption keep saying, do you ever have a bad week? Now it becomes normal if we don't break 4 or 5 school records or get someone, winning conference athlete of the week or school athlete of the week, then that's kind of a really bad weekend for you, which is, it's hard to kind of keep those expectations going, but we look forward to the challenge.
Hardworking athletes, they'll keep it going.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the women's team, long distance. Sophomore Antonia Pagliuca, we talked about her last week. She came in first place in the 5,000 meters. She shattered the record by 16 seconds. That's impressive.
It's not her fastest 5K. She went a little bit quicker in the indoor season. But again, for her to come 2 weeks after running her first 10K, I mean, her body's tired. She had a killer workout earlier in the week. She's going to be tired. I didn't say anything other than go race. I'm not going to give you splits.
Right.
I'm not going to give you race strategy. Finally go get a college win. This may be her first college win. When I was trying to remember before we sat down, has she had a college win? I don't think she has. Finally, she went and destroyed. I think the next place was, 20, 25 seconds behind her. So she was just feeding on that. It's a good start. Hopefully we'll get her into some bigger meets here in the next couple of weeks. But like I said, we just wanted to get one out there, wanted to get a win under her belt and kind of move forward.
Right, definitely. And junior Audra Harris, like we were just talking about, she kind of came out of nowhere.
She did. She really came out of nowhere. I mean, I knew deep down that this is what we would be able to finally see out of Audra. She wasn't able to finish out her cross-country season due to an injury, coming slowly back from the indoor season, and was really able to just rock out, 1910. And, 1910, some people hear that time and they're not, it's not 18 flat like Antonia, but you don't understand. Audra, she in high school, I think her PR in the 2 mile was about 14 minutes. So that's 7-minute miles for just 2 miles. She was a little bit quicker than the 6:10 pace. That's amazing just to see the progress of this girl and what she's been able to accomplish here. And it was a good effort for her. And now the next step is to get the monkey off the back and really break 19.
Right, definitely. And now we go to the javelin, and Megan Perrin, unbelievable performance, new school record, and she's 18th in the country, ranked number 2 in New England. I mean, she was great last year and sophomore year, second year, and she's doing so well.
Yeah. And we knew Megan had some talent coming in. I mean, she was one of the better javelin athletes out of New England coming in as a freshman last year. She went in, a couple of meets into the season, popped 141 feet. And finally she was able to hit, that 42, 43 meter mark. And that's really where she needs to be.
Right.
I think it's going to be a good year for javelin, though, in Division II. She popped that. She's ranked 18th in the country. She's going to have to throw a little bit farther. Mm-hmm. But she wouldn't have been able to get that without Michaela Livey, her teammate, who also had a big PR, throwing 127. If Megan wasn't throwing well, Michaela wasn't throwing well, Megan would not have thrown that. Mm-hmm. And so to have 2 great throws out of both of them was really, really huge. They're going to keep pushing each other. Mm-hmm. I think it's great that both of them got 2 big PRs. But the ultimate goal is to try to get both of them at the national championships. And that is definitely in their future, and hopefully it comes here and they can solidify that in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. And then we go to the hammer throws. Junior Gwen Sawyer, also with the shot put, she performed well. I mean, she breaks a record that was set back in 2007. So, I mean, that's 5 or 6. That's a great job.
Hammer's a new event for her. She's just learning that event. And so, for her, she's had some challenges with it. She had a really good day. First meet of the season for her. She wasn't able to compete 2 weeks ago, so this was her first outdoor meet. She had some good performances out there. Does she need to go farther? Yeah. Right now, is that going to score in the conference? No. But she now has shown that each week she can get a little bit better and, eventually be able to score in the hammer, just like she's been able to score in discus and shot in our conference before. But, again, that's going to catapult her up in the rankings, and hopefully she just keeps building on that.
Yeah, definitely. And for the hurdles and sprints, great performances once again. With the sprints, you had multiple people finish in the top 10 for the 800 meter. Elizabeth Sullivan had a great performance.
Big PR for Elizabeth. We talked about her last week. She's the kid that just keeps getting better each week. And for her to go out there and really lead from the gun, and that's essentially what she did. She took the lead right away, coming through that first lap, the quarter, hearing that bell for last lap, and she just took off. And she was really strong throughout. She ran a solid time in the wind, 2:25. We'll take it. She's got bigger goals than that, but like I said, it was a good PR for her. And she's just rolling. And she brought a bunch of people with her. So we had a big group running that 800. Some had already done the 1500 before that, had some good performances. Some of the people also realized what they need to work on. So like I said, we're moving in the right direction with that group. And like I said, we're able to work on some speed in a meet like this. And it wasn't that competitive for us, and so we could work on some different things that we don't normally work on.
Right.
And some of those people that ran the 800, it wasn't their key event. But again, it gives us an opportunity to do some training and train through the wind, which is, basically like weightlifting. We'll take it. So yeah, it was a good performance on all of them.
Definitely. And then freshman Megan Slinsky in the 400 meter, she comes in second place. I mean, that's impressive from a freshman.
Yeah, I will take that because she's really an 800 runner. I mean, we train her as a middle distance runner, so she's starting to get that speed down, get back to where she was in high school, and like I said, that's really going to catapult her for the 800. And eventually we'd like to see her dip under 220 this year in the 800, and she's setting herself nicely if she can get that 400 down.
Right.
And like I said, we're still trying to figure out who our 4x4 is going to be, competing at Penn Relays here in a couple of weeks. So she's definitely a good candidate, and like I said, if she keeps moving forward, she might get herself onto that team. So.
Definitely. And that concludes it for the women's team. The men's team, like I said earlier, the 16 top 10 finishes, that was very impressive. Let's start with the triple jump. Sophomore Loris Tavares, I almost messed up that name, but LT broke a record once again. The record that was 42 years going in the last meet. Now he breaks it again in this meet, but he goes further with it, which is
he improved another 2 feet. He basically got a PR. He's gone a little bit farther indoors, but with the conditions and the winds and everything he had to deal with, it was a really good meet for him. LT was able to keep composure. Came back really strong. He didn't have a fantastic performance in long jump, but was able to come back a couple hours later and have a really good performance in triple, and that's what we needed, and that's going to continue to what we need come down in our conference meets and in New England's. But like I said, it was a great performance. We're excited. We're excited to get Eddie Frazier back into that event too, and then they can battle it out, you know, for keep breaking every week that school record. That's one that I know it's gonna be broken a couple more times this season.
And then with the sprints, we were talking earlier about Jeremy Ali Tarter. He's a sophomore, and he came in first place in the 400, just over 50 seconds for the fact that you were saying about the cold weather and how miserable it was
wind,
out
yeah,
there.
and he's a true 800 runner. So we've been working on his speed a little bit. That 400 was strong for him, and he won by a lot. And he actually had someone that was fighting with him, got a little bit ahead, and come that last 100 meters was able to really drive it home, and really work on his form and running all the way through the line. And he was, like I said, he was up against that wind in the back corner, and so he came in strong, and it was a good performance with him. He was going to do the 800, but we decided to just send him out for that and get ready because he'll have a lot more 800s to run this rest of the season. So, like I said, good win for him. We'll take it.
Yep. And lastly, for the men in the hammer throw and the shot put, sophomore Alex Serbo, he comes in top 5 finishes in both. You had to be impressed with how he did.
Yeah, he's still a little disappointed in his shot. It's going to come along. I mean, he just needs to work on it, but he's been spending a little bit more time in hammer, but that's showing the results. He's still getting really close to that school record, and that's a really solid school record there in the hammer, but he's looking to take that down. I think he's ranked 3rd in the conference right now in hammer, and this, he only started throwing in high school as his junior year, so really still learning the event and all of that. And so he's coming around. He was really excited. Now we're just working on. He was able to get that throw in just 2 spins. So we're trying to get 3 spins, and now it's just it's just trying to keep him in the circle and not fouling out. Once he can keep his center and work on his speed a little bit and stay in the circle and not foul and fall out of the circle, he'll be able to really get some throws out there and really shatter that school record and really catapult him up to one of the best hammer throwers in the conference. And we know that if you're one of the best hammer throwers in the conference and in this conference that we have that's so strong in throwing, that that increases his chances of making the NCAA national championships in Florida here in June. So that's exciting.
Definitely. So that wraps up for both the men's and the women's team. You guys have a meet coming up at Fitchburg State University, going a little bit north now. Yeah. Saturday, April 2nd. It's the Jim Sheehan Memorial event, and preview that for us a bit.
Yeah, it's a very low-key meet for us. I mean, we'll definitely be having more athletes do things that they're normally not going to be able, events that they normally won't do in our conference championships, to just work on some different things that we need to fine-tune at this part of the season. It's very low-key. I mean, we go in there, lots more top 10 finishes, lots more wins. Hopefully the weather is a little bit nicer. It looks like it's going to be. It's still going to be a little chilly. But like I said, it's a chance for us. We're only about a half hour from campus. So it's a close, quick meet for us, and hopefully we can learn some things from this meet and carry it forward, because once we get past this one, all the other meets are going to be bigger and definitely better competition and more competition. And so but like I said, we're moving in the right direction. Conference rankings and New England rankings are strong. Like I said, most of our kids are at the top right now, which is exciting, considering we've never really been there in any part of our season. Right. So it is exciting where we're at. And like I said, we look forward to this meet and seeing what we can do.
So that'll wrap it up for us. Episode 2 of the Coach's Corner is complete, along with Stacie Wentz of the track and field program. Thank you for joining us once again.
You're welcome.
I'm Evan O'Neill. So stay tuned to all things Assumption Greyhounds athletics at AssumptionGreyhounds.com. Go Hounds.